So I'm Guido Initucci. I'm a photographer in New York. I have a studio in Brooklyn and I have a studio in Beacon, New York. We're gonna do a little bit of short interviews with people in the industry. Sometimes there will be managers, agents, owners of acting studios, and sometimes there will be maybe photographers. But I am trying to find useful information for especially my clients or artists in general. Anything that could benefit new people in the industry. That's what these are going to be about. We just had one of my favorite people ever, Jackie Reid from Lil Angels Unlimited. And I think we got some good answers from our questions, and a little bit of knowledge helps everybody. So thank you for watching and listening. We'll bring more to you from Guido Initucci Photography. So Jackie, we've known each other for a very long time, but probably maybe some people that are listening to this, hopefully many, that are listening to this might not know you. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what's your place in the industry.
Oh, good question. My name's Jackie Reid, and I own and manage a company called Lil Angels Unlimited, which is a talent management company. We start at age 4 years old, and we go up through basically death. We have elderly people on the roster as well. We specialize in television, feature films, movies, voiceover, animation, commercials. Basically, full service. Theater, absolutely. We have many people on Broadway. The company has been around over 30 years. We celebrated our 30th anniversary last year, and we are very talent friendly. We love people who are, successful, but we also take developmental clients that we see potential in, and we want to nurture and bring them up to the level they should be at.
So what initially drew you to talent management, and how is it shaped since we started working together like over 10 years ago?
Okay, so I had a baby that I thought was just the cutest baby in the world. I'm sure a lot of people feel that way about their babies.
Yeah.
And I took her to a management company, and he said, she's cute, let's try her. And we went on our first audition and she booked it. We went on our second audition and she booked it. This is Ashley.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. And then eventually she just was rocking and rolling. And when she turned 5, he unfortunately passed away, which was, devastating. We were really close to him. And the agents were telling me, we all know you. We know Ashley. I don't think you really need to get another manager. Why don't you manage her yourself? And I said, all right, I'll try that. And then other moms in the industry started asking me to manage their kids. And then strangers started asking me to manage their kids. And Lil Angels was born.
Wow. And well, you're definitely good at it. And then Mikey came along and he also became,
Mikey came along. Yep. Yes, he did.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. So the entertainment landscape has transformed dramatically, definitely since you started.
Yes.
From your bi-coastal vantage point, what's the most significant shift you've witnessed, and in how actors build careers today versus when you started?
Well, the biggest change is that when I started, you had to either be in New York or in LA, and you had to go into the room and you had to audition. And since the pandemic, that's completely changed, where I'd say 95 to 98% of auditions now are self-tapes. So you could be in, Des Moines, Iowa, you could be in Albuquerque, you could be in France and submit an audition. So it's really opened it up to people who weren't local to New York and LA. And it opened it up to casting too. They're now seeing people they never would have seen before.
Right. Do you feel that because everything nowadays is self-tape and people don't go in person, they sort of like miss out on seeing the personality of the actor, or like that the chances are more limited because they don't see them in person, or not?
It's really it's a toss up. It's 50-50. Yes, you're not seeing them in person. You're not walking in going, "Hi, how are you?" And talking about chit chat and things. You do miss
Right.
that. But you also have the opportunity of, when you're in your living room, doing it, 20 times until it's perfect.
Right.
Whereas when you're in the room and you blank and forget a line, you forgot the line.
Yes.
That's what's
Yeah.
going on tape, as
Right.
opposed to you can do it as many times as you want. You could send it to your reps for feedback. They could go, "I loved scene one. Scene two could be stronger. Why don't we make it bigger or smaller or faster?" That's really,
And there's like, yeah,
a lot
probably
more.
the advantages outweigh the disadvantages.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. Especially for parents, I guess, because they don't have to schlep their kids from, point A to point B, and it's
Right.
much easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
liked the schlep though. When I was taking my kids, I liked the schlep because it was a real nice bonding time in the car. We would put on, like Disney songs and sing along, and it was nice. I did
Yeah.
like it.
What is the most rewarding part of your work? Is there a highlight or a client, success story that, you know, still energizes you on a
Yes.
day-to-day basis?
The highlight, honestly, is telling someone they booked something. Doesn't matter if they're, 10, or I have a woman who's in her 80s and they cry and they're just so emotional, and it's literally their dream come true. That is the highlight every time. Doesn't matter if it's a little booking, doesn't matter if it's a series regular, a
Right.
role on Broadway, just the excitement. The fact that, I like to say I have the best job in the world because we're literally making dreams come true.
That's true. That's
So
true.
that is the highlight, is
Do
telling
you
someone they,
do you remember anyone in particular that you were like, oh my God, that was
oh gosh, yeah. Okay, so without naming names, there were a couple of people who had a really long dry spell, like literally a decade with no bookings.
oh,
And we don't give up on our clients. If you're doing what you're supposed to do, and you're, taking classes, and you're, following our advice, we don't give up on you because you didn't book something. And then both of these individuals ended up booking something life changing,
oh,
literally life changing. And that was absolutely amazing. And then a couple of weeks later, I saw on one of their Instagrams, they're standing in front of a brand new car with a big bow on it that they gave their mom for all her support. Oh my God. I
that's
mean,
so
tears
sweet.
were just like, it was like, yeah.
Okay. So on the flip side of the previous question, what is the hardest part of your job of managing clients?
The hardest part of my job with managing clients is managing people who can't get out of their own way, who are
Mhm.
consistently late turning in auditions,
Right,
who won't update their materials. They won't get, headshots for years. They won't go in and update their skills. They won't take classes.
right.
They're very non-communicative, such
How,
as, you have an audition and an hour later, an hour after it's due, I'm looking for you, begging you, saying casting is waiting for this. And you're all like, "Sorry, I was having a manicure," or some other really dumb. No, that doesn't work.
right,
Help me help you. I will do everything I can to make you successful, but you have to do your part.
right. And at that point, how do you manage to get him out of the way? Is there anything that you would do,
I
like a
give,
pep talk or?
yeah, some very stern talks. And eventually, if they don't, shape up, we have to cut them loose, because there are literally hundreds of people fighting for your spot on my roster, who
Right,
will turn things in time, who would give their left arm for this opportunity.
right. Yeah, commitment, big part of this
Big
business.
part of this.
So um Hollywood, there's been an increase in the need for representation in recent years. So how have you seen opportunities to give voice to people that are not represented, voices that are unheard. How do you manage that part?
Yeah, representation definitely matters. And I think that it's very important when a role comes out that they use the correct person, shall we say, who represents what they're looking for to play the character.
Right.
I've also, one of my absolute passions in this industry is neurodiversity and making sure people who are neurodiverse get a shot. ADHD, OCD, Tourette's, Down syndrome, we're really, as a mission in the company, we're really into getting those people seen.
Right. Which brings me to the next thing is like you actually referred to me someone who's has Down syndrome, right? Is a very much a functioning actor, but they have Down syndrome, and I think it's amazing. I mean that it's important to you because
Yeah,
everyone needs a fair shot because it can be such a much more diverse industry than it actually is, right? So
right, right.
I agree. So looking ahead, what is the legacy that you want to um, have for yourself and all the work that you've done with young actors, especially? I mean,
Just that I was a good manager and I was fair and, they enjoyed working with me. I enjoy working with my clients.
well, I would have to say, in all the years that I've known you, first of all, you have the most loyal following of people,
I
and
do.
and I think because you're firm, but you're fair, and when I refer people to you, um, I always tell them this person. The reason why I'm referring you to this person is because she will really have your best interest at heart.
Mhm.
She will not give you lip service. It's just like she's as real as it gets, and she will do anything to get you where you need to be. Not maybe where you want to be, but where you need to be. Some people have their ideas. That's what a manager does. It's like they will shape you into what's best for you. Correct? I mean, it's like I've seen all your clients succeeds. I mean, all your kids that now are grown up. I was like, I've seen them succeed many, many, many times. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think that is your stronger suit. So now tell me, this is more about me than you probably, but how do you work with the clients to make them understand what a good headshot is, what they need in a headshot, how to pick from a portfolio of headshots that they've taken? What is it that you're looking for in a headshot?
Okay, so you have made my job extremely easy
Well,
because I send you my clients and I get back the most dynamic, charismatic, beautiful session that I could imagine. And the most difficult part is having to narrow it down because there are so many good ones.
no,
You are magical. And I'm not just saying that. You have had my loyalty for, like we said, over a decade, and there's a
yes,
reason for that. It's
thank
because you
you.
are the best. As far as parents, sometimes we don't agree on what we should select. Sometimes a parent will pick something that I'll say, you know what, that's going to look amazing on your wall.
Right,
As a thumbnail for a casting director, let's go with this one.
right.
I know what's going to get their attention.
Yeah. And I think that for me, my impression is that parents, when photographing kids, parents want to see their kids as beautiful. They're looking at their kids. They're not looking at a product.
Right,
You're able to look at them as a product and say, this I can sell, this I can't sell. She looks beautiful, she's cute, she does the thing that mom loves, but is not the thing that a casting director would love. It's like, I need to have
right,
this instead. So i
right.
i I always tell parents of clients that you send me, it's like, listen, you have to look at your kid as a product from now on, and it's a really hard thing to do, so let the manager do that for you and take that off your plate.
Right.
So,
Because if you have a beautiful kid, that's great, but we also need personality,
yeah,
especially what I do. We specialize in film and TV and theater, and we need personality, and we need to see the personality in the photo.
right.
I mean, otherwise it looks like, a high school yearbook photo, which that's not going to get anyone's attention. And the
Right.
point is, you're what is going to get them in the room. Your pictures, when casting directors are looking at literally thousands of pictures, we need something that's going to stand out, that they're going to say, okay, let's give them a shot. And then we get you in the room, you audition, and you get to do all the things you're trained for. But the point is, you have to get in the room. And what's going to get you in the room is the picture and your profile. So I need people to work with me on that. And you're an essential part of that for me. So I thank you.
Jackie, after this whole process is done and I've taken headshots of clients, especially your clients, some parents who are very new to this might wonder, where are all these pictures going? It was like, what do I do with it once they're retouched and ready to go? So how do we push them out, and where do they go?
So what happens with the pictures is we have the clients upload them to their profiles on the casting sites, which are the sites that breakdowns come out on when casting is looking for a particular role.
Okay. All right. And that's a very easy process and very easy thing to do, right? For parents. It's not like complicated or anything. So
No, they just upload it. And we like to have, because obviously there are many different roles and different characters, we like to have people put up a variety of pictures. We want, happy for comedy and for commercials. We want something really serious for dramatic roles. If you're an athlete, a picture of you looking sporty would be great. Nerdy, mean
right.
girls, there are so many different looks. And
So
we
can
like a
I
variety that we can choose them to fit
right,
the roles that we're submitting you
right.
for.
One question that I get all the time. People don't know the difference between theatrical legit shots. It's always like, oh, is this, can you do theatrical and commercial? And I'm like, sure, this is industry standard. We can do that. So can you just like clarify for people? It's like, what is a theatrical legit shot and what is a commercial shot?
A commercial shot is very much looking in the camera, big smile. Well, no hands. That's a big thing with me. I don't want hands in headshots.
Right.
But a big cheesy, I love this macaroni and cheese face.
Right. Okay.
As
Perfect.
opposed to, the role is your mom died in a horrible accident. This is not going to work. We
Right.
need a really good, serious, intense, showing it in your eyes that you have depth and feeling.
Right.
That's what we need for theatrical.
For theatrical and legit.
Yeah.
They're the same basically. So just like people hear different names and they get confused at times. But yeah. So yeah, great. I get that question all the time. How often do you think that people need to get headshots? Like from, younger to older people? It's like, what is it a good amount of time to wait?
I like a year. Especially with kids. Parents see them every day. They don't realize how much they change. But
Okay.
a year in a child is a huge difference. I like it a year too, even for adults, even though I'll stretch it to 2 if I have to. But
Okay.
it's not only a matter of, yes, you look the same. A lot of people are going to look the same as adults for years. The point is, when casting directors are going on, and I'm submitting you for literally hundreds of projects a week, and they see the same photo literally for years, they don't feel like you're investing in your career. They want to
Makes
see,
sense.
here's a new picture. Here's a new picture. Here's a new look. Here's
Right.
something different about me,
Right.
as opposed to, and I have a lot of adults pushing back on that.
Right. And
Many of which are
I
not
think
because of
yeah.
the fact that 10-year-old headshots were acceptable, and they're not. And if
Right.
you can't help me help you, you make my job, too hard.
And especially if you get hair change, weight change,
Yes.
hair color, beard, all the stuff needs to be updated constantly because they see somebody who's not current, right?
You have to match your picture. You
Right,
have to match your picture.
right,
If you have a picture, if you looking, you have bangs and long brown hair, and they pick you for this role, and now they're going to get a tape with you in a short platinum blonde bob. That's not what they signed up for.
right. Do you think it's important for people to have a slate?
A slate shot at the beginning of the pictures? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right, okay. Because I get a lot of people that want to match. It's like, oh, we're going to do a slate with each look. So, and I have
Yes.
no problem with that. So,
It's very important. And it's literally, they don't have to do anything but say their name.
right, okay, yeah,
It's just a headshot come to life.
right,
And you just want to match it in as much as if it's a smiling photo, you're going to be very happy and bubbly when you say your name. And if it's the devastatingly serious one, you're going to be serious when you say your name.
right. Perfect. Yeah, yeah. I agree. I think it's important.
So I'm going to flip the script and I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
Okay, you have photographed my clients for years and years and years, and I consistently get amazing feedback. Like, we love him. He's amazing. He made me feel so relaxed. I had such a good session. He's the best person I've ever been to. What's your secret? How do you bring this out of them where everybody walking out of there is in love with your work and with how you treated them?
I love artists. So I am genuinely interested in people first and artists. So I love to, I'm pretty shy, but when I get a client or I get somebody that I can talk shop with or like immediately I sort of come to life because I'm very curious by nature. So when a client comes to me, I am very curious about who they are. So I always start a session with like at least 15, 20 minutes. We talk. And I was like, tell me about you. I don't want your resume. I want to know what do you like to do for fun? And it's like anything. Even young clients, very, very small ones that you send me, I treat them like adults. I try to talk to them like I would talk to an adult, obviously, and get to their level. It's like, what do you like? And it's like, I feel that I'm genuinely interested in who they are. And it also helps me to see how they react to the conversation or to the question that I have for them, so that when they're in front of the camera, real person and which one is the person that they put up. I know that as like, oh, you're different than you were when we were talking. Now you're trying to show me somebody else. I was like, I want to see the other guy. I want to see the person before that we were talking. And so I put a lot of effort into pulling stuff out of them, keeping them engaged with me, as opposed to going to their heads and, into their heads. It's like, oh my God, now I need to be this way or that way. It's like, no, just be you. And then people will sort of like assign a role to who they see. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's my strength. I think I'm really interested. I love to work with people. Love it.
And I love to work with you. Like I said, I get feedback every session. How amazing you are and how much they love you. The kids, the parents, the adults.
That makes my day. I really put an effort into it. So Jackie, now for people that haven't found your agency or your management company, how do they reach you? How would you like them to reach you if they're new to the business, and how can they find you?
So what we really like is people to email us at lilangelsny@gmail.com. Include either you or your child's name, age if you're a minor, location as to where you're going to be auditioning from, and contact info. put in a headshot, put in a resume if you have one. If you have clips, like say your child is a singer, awesome, throw in a clip. Let us see the singing clip.
Right.
A thing that's really important when you send us media is that you send it as a link and not a download, because we're not going to download things that we didn't request.
I have to ask you this because this is like when we started together, when you found me, I remember that you were doing all these open calls at the Pearl Studio, right? So in New York. So is that not happening anymore because of traveling, or because of like now the pandemic has changed everything?
That's a great question, because because of the pandemic, we've been doing a lot of things over Zoom, which is, like I said, helpful for people who aren't in the area. But starting this June, we are going to be doing open calls again. We have
Oh,
one scheduled for the 21st in Hoboken. And then, which is going to be really exciting, we are doing one, I believe it's early August in North Carolina.
okay. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
We're going to do one in Atlanta. We're very excited about picking up the open calls again. Those were
Yeah,
so fun.
maybe I'll come to Hoboken and
That would be amazing.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I'll send you the info.
probably at Annie's studio, right? I assume.
People don't know what that is, but we'll have it on our social media.
I think it's great. I think these open calls are really good.
Me too.
Yeah, it's
We enjoy
easy
them.
for you to see the personality, and it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
right. Well, thank you so much, Jackie, for doing this. As I said, you're the person in this business that I trust the most, and otherwise, I wouldn't refer people to you. I think that what you've done throughout the years is like life changing for a lot of people.
Thank you. You're the best.